What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you the spicy concoction of Regenesis Millennium. Now, there are two different ways that you can play this particular version of the deck. You can go all out aggressive, minimize the bricks, don't utilize Exodia. To me, that didn't feel as authentic as I would like it to be. Like, I still want it to feel like I'm playing Millennium and not just Senganjins and a couple of ways to get to Senganjin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, explain why we've got it, and then talk you through the whole idea and premise behind the deck of what you're wanting to try to do. As instantly your first thought will be, well, how do you get Exodia on the field with the Regenesis? Because when you get to Exodia, you remove all of your other monsters that are not Millennium Monsters. Well, that's exactly the baseline answer to it. You're not going to be doing that. What you want to do is you want to threaten the field to be able to OTK with just the Regenesis cards, and what you're basically saying to your opponent is, if you try and clear off all of these particular Regenesis cards, I'm still going to activate Millennium Monk and then swing in for game off of the back of Exodia. If I don't have to activate and summon the Exodia, it kind of means that your opponent can't break your field anyway, and you're still going to be pushing in for the OTK. You'll see that in more detail as we go through the profile. So please make sure you smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Now, the Regenesis Engine is pretty much the same no matter what version of this deck you want to go down, whether you want to go for the Senganjin route or whether you just want to go for this one, which is a little bit more authentic, involving Exodia. So you are going to be utilising 3 Regenesis Archfiend. Pretty standard on this one. This one allows you to reveal a monster with 2500 attack or defense in the hand to special summon it. On normal or special, you then get to search out any Regenesis cards. You can work your way into Regenesis, the spell card, or of course you can work into Regenesis Code, Regenesis Birth, Regenesis Lord, or even Sage, which is going to be your Omni Negate. You've also got Warrior, which will be your return card, and then obviously you've got your Dragon, which will be your way to deal with spells and traps. Speaking of which, 1 Sage, 1 Lord, 1 Dragon, and 1 Warrior. So the Regenesis themselves can pretty much put on a huge amount of damage. Remember that Lord will go up to 5000 attack during the battle phase, and it will also be able to do piercing battle damage. So straight away you're threatening OTK with just these cards here, and your Exodia is another form of a push, or just as you're working your way through to it, kind of basically says to your opponent, as I mentioned at the start, even if you clear this or stop this, I'm still going to go into Exodia. The only time that you need to be very careful that you will lock yourself out of the Exodia is with your Regenesis Code. But to me, Regenesis Code is still that incredibly powerful, and what you need to remember is you can still utilize Regenesis Code later on in the battle phase to help you push for that last little bit of damage, even if you can't get access to your Millennium Unk. So it's one of them cards that you want to keep in mind, and if you wanted to go more down an Exodia route or to try to get you to the Unstoppable Exodia, you would minimize this so that you never really come up with that clash. Arguably, you could take it out completely, as you want to be going second with this particular type of deck, but then that's when you can kind of minimize the bricks and work your way into more of an aggressor, more of a field breaker type route, and that again is entirely up to your playstyle. Then we have 3 Regenesis, and then the 1 Regenesis Birth. This is really, if you enter into the grind state, what you need to kind of keep in mind is you can still get access to your Regenesis Birth throughout your entire Regenesis plays, and then you can still work your way into the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. Now, I'm not actually playing Exod's Fire of Rage in the main deck. You can do, but as I've mentioned, I want to be going second with this deck. If I do end up going first, or if I'm not able to complete an OTK with all of my different type of routes, I would much rather sit on a Regenesis Birth, because that Book of Moon could be more important and still have the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate for the negate on the field as well. Or you would leave your Regenesis Sage and or another Regenesis card, and then that can still help you out. Another thing you do also need to remember is that if you do open up the Regenesis Code in a bit of the grind state, you should be able to hold this back. So when you do activate Millennium Monk because you want to upgrade your field to get the Exodia Unstoppable on the field as that negate, you can still have access to your Regenesis Birth and a Regenesis Code. So that once you've got this on the field, you activate Regenesis Code, summon out your Sage. You can then activate the Birth to then send one of your Regenesis monsters to flip one of your opponent's monsters face down. And then, of course, you can activate the Sage to send the Birth to use as your Omni Negate. And you still have that recursion of that Regenesis monster in the graveyard to come back to the hand for the next turn and go again. Now, keep in mind, I know that you can't do that after Unk has been activated during your turn, but these plays would all be happening during your opponent's turn. So that's where you still have the grind option and aggressive option in both kind of scenarios. Moving on to the Millennium Monsters. So for the Millennium Monsters, you're going to be going with 3 Heart of the Blue-Eyed. Now, this card is one of the cards that can be revealed as a 2500 monster either on the field or in the hand, and it's more so going to be revealed in the hand in order to get your Regenesis Archfiend to the field, as it has the 2500 defense. This is also your only direct route to get to your Millennium Unk. As I've mentioned previously, this is not our win con in this particular version. It's just a win more con. It's one of them ones, as I've mentioned for the 3rd time now, that you're putting your opponent in a position of the Regenesis will win me the game, unless you can stop them. And if you do stop them, I'm still going to hit you with the Millennium Monk. So it's kind of one of them ones of a, oh no, anyway, and then carry on anyway, and you just carry on playing. So this is why you don't need to rely on the Millennium Monk as heavily, and remember that the Millennium Monk will recycle itself back into the deck once you've used it, so if you do enter into the grind state and you have a second Heart of the Blue Eyes, you are good to utilize it. The more important card, which will become as pivotal in other versions of this deck if you want to, is the Engine. Now, the reason you're going to want to max out with the Engine, not only is it the best one to work you into any other Millennium Monster, ideally a Heart of the Blue Eyes, but it can also be a 2500 on the field or in the hand as a reveal. Now, when you minimize this engine, and when you do, you end up cutting all of the Exodia pieces because you're just going to be going for a turbo of a Engine, because this can search out another copy of itself, so both straight away, this can act as follow-up, but it also acts as another monster with 2500 that can be revealed. The benefit of the Engine as well is it is also a level 8. You don't mind taking a bit of life point damage, as you will see we play Psychic End Punisher in the extra deck. You can make that more prominent, and you will make that more prominent when you're going to be utilizing your normal summons for other hand traps. And that's if you were to take out the next batch of cards that I'll show you in a minute for the space. That's when you can start opening up to go, okay, cool, well, I'm going to play my Bestials, which act as more 2500 monsters on the field or to be revealed in the hand. And then on top of that, I can start adding in cards like Ghost Mourner and Ghost Belt, or even Ghost Ogre, that can help me utilize as my level 3 tuner to work me into level 11 synchros, which can be utilized off the back of the Engine or off the back of any of my Regenesis monsters, Bar, Warrior, and Sage. More times than not, it's probably going to be Archfiend you're going to use as that synchro fodder, but that's just the options you have open to you. And that's why the Engine will become more important if you didn't want to play the bricks of having all of the Exodia pieces. But as mentioned at the start, this version feels just more right to me. It's just the way that you want to be playing it, and it's the only way you can really call it as a Regenesis Millennium or Millennium Regenesis build. If you just played it with the free Engines and wait to get to it, you'd probably just be calling it Regenesis Engine. The final Millennium Monsters we play is the 1 Golem that guards the Millennium Treasures, and the 2 Wedju Temple that it gets access to. Now, the reason I've gone with 2 Wedju and only the 1 Golem rather than the other way around is I'd much rather open up the Wedju to then put a monster into my spell and trap zone and then place the Engine, activate the Engine to summon, and then that's when you're going to want to be able to utilize the ability to get to your Blue Eyes. If that is your one and only search that you end up getting drolled off the back of, that's absolutely fine, because you'll still have Heart of the Blue Eyed in the hand to be revealed in order to get your Regenesis Archfiend to the field. You've already got a guaranteed monster with 2500, so that can allow you to spawn the field with the rest of your Regenesis, so you still have more ways to push. Whereas if you open up with the Golem that guards, it's an additional 2000 life points you're going to be paying. You summon it, you search the Wedju Temple, and then if they go cool, droll, you're then going to be putting yourself in a position where you can't get the Engine to the field, and you're left with a monster that doesn't really fit any of the stats you might require. Then we are playing the all pieces of Exodia, pretty standard if you want to be going down this route. The biggest downside is these technically are 5 bricks. The only additional benefit you have with one of these is if you do discard it or get a piece to the graveyard and you were to go down Selene, Selene can technically revive one and you can work your way into an access code. That's not what you're going to want to be doing in this one. You are just going to be wanting to reveal all 5 pieces to summon you out the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. And that's where I've mentioned it. If you're like, whoa, I don't want to be adding these bricks to the deck, I don't really want it to be a Millennium, I want it to be as fast-paced as possible, that's when you can free up 5 spaces in the main deck, take away the Millennium Ankh. You can also take away the reliance on the Heart of Blue Eyed, and that's when you would replace the Heart of Blue Eyes being that 2500 stat reveal to go for 3 Bestials, so you're basically going for a like, and then you would swap out the 5 pieces of Exodias for something like 2 Ghost Bells, 2 Ghost Ogres, and a Ghost Mourner. Then you take out the Ankh for the second Ghost Mourner if you wanted to, or you'd up your count of something like a Lava Golem, which also treats itself as having that 2500 stat reveal that you might need for your Regenesis Archfiend. For the hand traps themselves, 3 Molchomi Fluoros, 3 Ash Blossom, and 3 Imperm. Again, as I mentioned, if you want to up the hand trap count, you can do. You could go for a full-on board breaker route. Another hand trap that I really like if you are going to be going down the Exodia Incarnate route is to main deck something like Ghost Mourner and Dogwood, Spooky Dogwood, for the pure fact that not only do you gain the life points when you activate Dogwood, but you just make your own Exodia Incarnate even stronger. But that would really kind of come down to the environment you're playing, and using it more as an aggressor rather than a time con option just kind of feels better, to be fair. The last 2 cards we are playing is 2 Lava Golems. So as mentioned previously, they do share the 2500 defense stat that will be affected for a reveal, but this is your more aggressive go second, activate Lava Golem, tribute off 2 of your opponent's monsters, and then build on from there. The one big benefit that I also like about the Lava Golem is if you do search your way into the warrior, or you get hard open to the warrior itself, you special summon the Lava Golem to your opponent's field, and then special summon down the warrior. Use warrior's effect to tribute it off to return the Lava Golem back to your hand, and then you can Lava Golem your opponent again. So it's another way to clear this out, and then you can still go, cool, activate Millennium Monk, summon out the Unstoppable Exodia, and top of the Exodia, one punch for game, or punch over the Exodia, the Lava Golem, or whatever you need to, and you can still back the rest of the field up should you want to. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to show you the extra deck. Now the extra deck becomes a little bit more tailored with this particular version. If you wanted to include something like a Pot of Prosperity, or more so a Pot of Extravagance, you'll be doing that in a version that does not involve the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, because this is your one and only important copy. Now, keeping in mind, more times than not, once you summon out the first Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, you should be winning the duel from that point on, which is why we're only playing one copy. The fact that you reveal the Exodia pieces, you don't put them to the field, you put them back into the deck, is the reason that we're not playing Obliterate. It's the reason that we're not going to be playing more copies of this, but it's the reason you could do if you wanted to. There is so much flexibility in the extra deck that I wanted to show you more of a range of options that you can go for, rather than direct plays that you're going to want to make. So I would advise you to probably bump up the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate to 2, and you would probably take out any of the cards that I'm about to show you, but I'm going to explain every single one of their usages as we go. So as we're playing this as an aggressive option, you do want to be utilizing the Psychic End Punisher. Now the reason for this is you don't use your normal summon at all within this entire deck, and that's where you could open up the ability to play a Kokimaru Guardian if you wanted to add yourself more protection. That's where you've got Lava Golem, and then of course you can just normal summon down a hand trap. In this form would be Ash Blossom, to then synchro with either your Regenesis Archfiend or your Senganjin to make you a Psychic End Punisher. Now, it's going to be better if you're making this after you've already resolved one, if not both, of your Millennium Monsters, being one Senganjin and one Golem, because then your life points will already be down by 4,000, which gives the Psychic End Punisher a nice little life point buff, or attack stat buff to be specific, and that can help you push in for game, backed up with your Regenesis, or you have the Exodia option. So you've got two different routes that can help you lead to an OTK. Your defensive option to the Psychic End Punisher will be the Jorashin. Now, I highly advise you going and picking up a copy of this. No matter what, right now, I think it's just a really kind of cool, a level 11 synchro monster that is already starting to pick up a bit of traction and a bit of hype. I think this is one of the first profiles that I'm showing this in. I think I have kind of mentioned it briefly in some of my other versions of this build, but I just think it's an incredibly good card. And if you're able to pick up an ultra rare for like £2 to £3, or like $3 to $4, maybe even $5 at max, it's worth having. As I think this is one of the cards that could creep up. As this is a newer card, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, you gain 300 life points when it resolves. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you pay 1,500 life points to tribute this card, then activate one of these effects. Destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, or you get to destroy all face-up spell and traps your opponent controls. You can only use each effect once per turn, so you're going to gain life points, which can help you recoup the deficit that you might have used for your Millennium Monsters, and then, of course, you can pay a bit more life points to clear the entire field off. So you've got your defensive, you've got your aggressor, it really is entirely up to you. Then for the XEs, so for the XEs, Typhon. Typhon can still be great for the Regenesis, because what you end up doing, because all of your monsters are going to be 2,500, you just upgrade one of them into the Typhon. If at the very least you've got the Millennium Monster of Senganjin on the field, you just upgrade your Senganjin into a Typhon, use the effect to return a card from the field to the hand, which again could be a Lava Golem that you've already cleared off your opponent's interruptive cards, and then you build on from there. The one thing you need to be very careful about with the Lava Golem is it will trigger off the Mitsurugis. But as I mentioned in one of my previous videos the other day, the Mitsurugi is, when it revives, it's then mandatory to Raigeki the field. So if you do Lava Golem them, they then put them in a position where they have to revive it to get that body back on the field, and then the Raigeki doesn't destroy anything, or they leave it in the grave, which then means they have a way to bring it back, and that's where you need to kind of keep an eye on it, and that's when you kind of disrupt it. It's also where the Bestials are becoming more effective with that particular matchup, and that's why you might want to consider having the Bestials in the side deck. For the XEs, we only play rank 8s because you've got your Senganjins for the Millennium side being a level 8, and then you've got your Regenesis Archfiend and Dragon for the Regenesis side. As I mentioned previously, your Regenesis Archfiend, once it's used this effect, really does become your fodder to either be banished off of the back of Lord to summon itself down, sent off of the back of Sage as your negate, basically fodder or cost, or it can be utilized as material to work into a Ding, work in a Hope Harbinger, work into a number 90 Galaxy Lord, and one of my favorites right now is the number 1 Infection Buzz King. Another card you could highly consider with this build, because we are playing Hope Harbinger, number 38, number 90, and number 1, is you can consider Astral Karibo, because the Astral Karibo reveals itself and then reveals one of the number monsters in the extra deck, and then becomes the equal rank. So it becomes a free level 8 monster on the field that straight away you utilize as material. That would then work its way into either a Hope Harbinger, Galaxy Lord, or Affection Buzz King. This can be aggressive and do a bit of burn damage. This can work its way into a monster negate, and this is your spell negate. And off the back of that, your Astral Karibo also gives them the effect that they can't be destroyed by card effect, which can be very, very useful. Moving on to the Link monsters. So for the Link monsters, we've got the 1 Link Spider. So if you do go down the Selene route and bring back an Exodia piece, turn it into an effect monster, and off you go. We've then got the 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 SP Litanite, and Asura the Earth Charmer. All of these are just generically great Link 2 cards. So Nightmare Phoenix can help you out any back row that might disrupt your field, or help you out any floodgate type cards. The IP Masquerena can be another one of them pieces that once you've put in as much damage as possible, if leaving those monsters on the field are going to be less effective for you, you turn them into an IP Masquerena, which can work its way into an SP Litanite or a Nightmare Phoenix during your opponent's turn, providing you with another layer of interruption. The Asura is the most common card you'll be able to make with this, for the pure fact that your Senganjins are Earth, as well as your Regenesis Archfiend. So you'd go into Asura the Earth Charmer. That would then allow you to revive an Earth monster from your graveyard in a particular scenario, work its way into Selene, even if you don't bring back a card from the graveyard, just any other monster on the field with the Asura works into Selene. If there's enough spells in rotation, Selene can then bring back an Exodia piece, or if you wanted to play an Effect Veiler, could bring that back. Or even if you don't need to bring back another monster, you just want to go into an access code. At the point you make this, your access code will have an Earth and a Light guaranteed, and it might even end up with a Fire or a Dark. These are the flex spots. This is where a second Exodia can come into play. You've got 3 flex spots direct right here that can become any rank 8 of your choosing, can become another level 11 synchro if you wanted to, can double up your Exodias, or heck, even triple up your Exodias. You've got loads of flex options if you wanted to, and that's when you can really start to adapt to the deck. So that's it for the entire deck profile and breakdown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the type of cards I would take out of this build if you wanted to go for the less brick route but more of an aggression route. Now I would still keep in the Golem, I would still keep in the access to the Yugioh Temple, because that gives you your Senganjin. Senganjin would be your core component. So the only card you would guarantee to take out of this would be all 5 pieces of Exodia. You would take out the Millennium Unk, and in turn you would take out all 3 Heart of the Blue Eyes. That's why I'm arguing, or basically saying, not even arguing, I'm basically saying that if you were to take all of these cards out at that particular point, it no longer becomes a Millennium style deck. It literally just becomes a Senganjin engine rather than a balance. But what you'd be able to do is you'd be able to take out all, I believe it's 9 cards. Yeah, all 9 cards. Just put them in an order so that I can see them clearly. So you take out all 9 of these cards will become less effective for you. So you take out these 9 technical bricks in this scenario. Like as soon as you take out one of your Exodia pieces, you might as well take out the Unk, and as soon as you take out the Unk, you take out the Blue Eyes. So you take out all of these 9 cards, and then you start opening up the door for some other options for you. So for 3 options to replace the Blue Eyes, I'd go with 3 Bestials, one being a Baldrake, Druidtome, and Magnamut. You can then also consider Seal of Orichalcos with a set rotation if you wanted to. You don't have to. I just quite like how funny this can be, because you can get access to the Yugioh Temple. You can also use set rotation to get you access to something like a chicken game. It really is entirely up to you. More so than not, I'd probably go in for these 3. And then for the remaining cards, or the remaining spaces, I'd be looking at Ghost Bells. I'd be looking at Ghost Mourners, Ghost Ogres. You can go for Drown Lockbirds if you wanted to, which would be more effective for this particular format. But at least with your Ghost Bells and Ghost Ogres, they do act as that level 3 tuner that you might need if you wanted to go into the Synchro route for you. So it kind of makes that element and that OTK option for you a lot more consistent, which you're going to be doing when you're going to be relying on your Senganjins more times than not. So these are 7 cards right here. You can also bump up your Lava Golem, as you won't be relying on your normal summon except by using your hand traps, or straight away for the final 2, as I mentioned, will be your Ghost Mourner, or they could be your Ghost Bell, your Dogwood. But as I mentioned, if you're taking out your Exodia, you don't really care about gaining the life points in turn or game 1. So it's entirely up to you. You can go for your hand traps, or of course you can go for the field breakers. But just as a quick swap before someone says, oh, can we see the version that doesn't use the Exodia cards or doesn't use the Exodia pieces, it's pretty much like for like. You'd swap all these out, swap all these in, and then just add in 2 more of the Ghost Gale hand traps, or you just go 3 Bell, 3 Ogre, entirely up to you. And you pretty much have the exact same build, just less Millennium. So it becomes, as I mentioned, rather than like a share of the deck being a Regenesis Millennium or a Millennium Regenesis deck, it just basically becomes a a Regenesis deck with a very, very small Millennium Engine. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas on your own build. I do like the way that this is. I like how aggressive it is. And as people have mentioned to me, and I'll try and get the name correct on this one, as they were the one that kind of requested it, but I was a little bit behind schedule when I was trying to put it together. But as, once I find it, so as Key of Destiny mentioned or asked, they just said that they really do like playing Millenniums, and they wanted to know like the best way to play it. Now the best way to play it, or like a way to play it, the best way to play it would be the Field Breaker version, or even just like play all the Mole Chummies if you wanted to. But what I really like about this deck is I just like it how out and out aggressive it can be. I do like how what you're going to be doing, as I mentioned at the start, is you're going to be pushing with the Regenesis and pushing with the Seng Engine. As soon as your first search gets you into the Millennium Ankh, as long as you don't activate Regenesis code, you will win the duel. Because if you're able to present, even if you're not able to present a field, as long as that Millennium Ankh resolves, which you would by that point be able to bait out a Dominus Purge, you'd be able to bait out a Droll stopping anything, so you'd know which route you want to take. You're pretty much in a position where your opponent can't win. And you're really going to cause them a huge amount of issues, because they kind of pick the field apart. They see that you're going to line up for the OTK, and if you can't line up with the OTK with just the Regenesis, you go, yeah, whatever, that's fine. I'll just summon out the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate and get the exact same outcome anyway. So that's it for the entire profile. If you don't have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.